Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We have a fun DIY project for anybody who, feeling a little down, feeling like society's getting a little weird. Maybe the local government's cracking down on you a little bit. All you need for this fun little project is a Komatsu D355A bulldozer and some steel and some concrete to modify with. Make it your own. Hold on. Wrong channel. Uh-oh. Wait, what is this going to be? Atlantic League preview. That can't be right. Atlantic League preview. That would be for a season that started like 10 days ago. Did I do an Atlantic League preview? What's this? Refill Adderall prescription. Motherfucker. So I guess we're doing this. Atlantic League preview, which is slowly becoming a review. We're going to have to do something different with it. We're going to do positional ranking style. We'll do it that way. We'll power rank by position. Then we'll go at the end. We'll do projected record. And we'll do playoff odds. Yeah, this is what we got. I've been busy. Been in Gastonia. That was a good time. Got to do that video. Keep an eye out for that one. Got some other stuff cooking. Always do. Might never actually be cooked. Doesn't matter. Semantics. Reading Billy Horton's new book. Check it out. Plug. Where to begin? I guess we'll just jump in, right? Because we know what's going on. It's Indy ball, baby. We're balling out. Up and down the coast. Getting started on the east side. Like it's the sunrise. Should work that in their branding. Let's start on the bump, right? We'll start starting pitching. We're going to start at the best. We'll go down the way. This is according to projections. Sometimes I modify it based on what I'm seeing, but for the most part, I trust the projection model. I'll try to tell you when I don't, but we'll get after it. And number one spot, we're starting at the best because we're being positive. I'm going to say less about the bad ones because this isn't what we're here for. We're not dunking on people. I do that crap on Indy Ball Report podcast. Screw Nick, the idiot. Lancaster Stormers, number one. Right at the top. Highlights, Noah Skiro, a 4.66 ERA in Reading last season. I know Reading well. I'm here. Got a bobblehead. You know what I'm saying? I think this stuff could work in Lancaster. He keeps the ball in the yard, low to mid 90s, good movement on the slider and curve. Keep an eye out for that one. They got Keelan Kilgore in the rotation. They got Alex Garbick in the rotation. They got Matt Swarmer. Tim Brennan, he struggled above AA. He has control issues, but he might settle in fine if he can find the zone. Number 2 rotation spot, and we're not going to go as in-depth all the way through just because it's time. You know what I'm saying? But we'll start out hot here. We're talking rotations. It's a big deal. Gastonia Ghost Peppers, number 2 rotation in the preseason. We're calling it preseason, and you're just not going to say anything about it, okay? We're fine with that. Number 2, they got Connor Gray. Interested to see where he fits in this rotation as the season goes. Could he up some innings through a perfect game for Kane County back in the day? How about that? Also got Tommy John collecting TJs out here in the Atlantic League. Nick Wells, he's back. Love that. Matt Hartman, he's had control issues. It's a theme in the league. Back in the American Association in 2022 and 2023, he had a 4.63 ERA with like a 1.3 something whip. That's interesting to note. He could be very good. Number 3 rotation in the league, I got the Charleston Dirty Birds. They show up to the party with a headlining trio of Kyle McGowan, Jimmy Endersby, and Kevia Sampson. I love that. McGowan, very good in Atlantic League stints so far. Not sure he'll be quite as good over a full season. We'll see about it. It's also always interesting. I'm always interested, rather, in the Chad innings eater that is David LeBron. I love him. And number 4, Southern Maryland, Blue Crabs. Taking a step back, there's a lot to be discussed on Blue Crabs. This is a pretty high spot for them in this preview. I'm just going to get ahead of it now. They're relying heavily on Andrew Thurman and Joey Hennessy, and they got to hope that plays. So far, it's not great. Number 5, got High Point. Number 6, got the Ducks. They're led by John Gant and Mitchell Sanger. A lot of talk about Plesac. I'm not buying in. The projections don't like it, but hey, I hope it works out for him because I'm rooting for good things for the kid. Number 7, got the Ferry Hawks. The rotation of Christians, both Allegretti and Capuano. Tough break about the Pope. With Adalberto Mejia, Jack Mahoney, Morgan McSweeney, they project to be mid-pack. But the interesting thing to keep in mind here is they got the highest floor and the highest ceiling of any rotation. So weird position there. Projections don't see them being as good. I think they're a top half of the league rotation. We're already kind of seeing it to start the year off. They are hot on Staten Island. York, they're number 8. Number 9, I got Hagerstown. They're looking for Jorge Martinez and Mike Kickham to lead the way and carry some things. And then Lexington at number 10. They look good early. I cannot take that away from them. I like Nick Leao. Dustin Beggs is a dog. A mustache be kicking. But it's going to be hard to make that rotation work for the whole season. I think they're going to see a fade there. And on a related note, let's talk relief pitching. And we're going to start at the bottom of the rank with relief pitching. We're just going to go up and down because that's the way I made the list because I hate myself. Lexington again, like the rotation, the bullpen. They're starting out well, but I expect to see them tested as the season goes on. Depth to be a problem, and they're probably going to be exposed. It's probably not going to hold up, but good for them getting a good start to the year. Let's not be negative on that. Number 9 bullpen, York Revolution. It's a little surprising, but they have like an entirely new staff. I don't know if they've added anybody recently in the last couple of days. I'm always waiting for them to throw someone in. I'm sure they will. But I think the opening day staff, pitching-wise, was an entirely new staff from 2024. No returners. Crazy. So they're going to need to show me a lot to get me to move them off of the projection results, which are not very strong for this bullpen. Number 8, you got Hagerstown. Number 7, Staten Island. Number 6, Southern Maryland. Number 5, Long Island. Let's take a little more time here on number 4, the High Point Rockers, because their bullpen's interesting. They got good depth, really like Jacob Edwards and Kyle Halbon. Halbon, he had similar peripherals in 2024 and 2023, but much better results in 2024. Edwards was really strong in 2024. He's a workhorse. I think there will be some regression there with him, but still potential for a lot of good innings of work. If we're talking Lancaster at number 3 bullpen, the core of the bullpen's back. They did a great job bringing back the guys who are really delivering for them. Scott Engler, we're talking Christian Scafidi, who was impressive last season. Very impressive, in fact. Michael McAveen, Philip Deal, he bounced back nicely from Tommy John. He's now sitting like low to mid 90s, if I'm seeing correctly. Jackson Reese also coming back. You love to see it. They've also added a few complimentary pieces on that. Very nicely done on the building of that bullpen. Speaking of building a bullpen, interesting work from Charleston here. Coming in at number 2, Frank Moscatiello is fascinating to be adding. He has been like the Frontier League's best reliever for like half a decade, which is crazy to think about. This is his first full Atlantic League season. He's done a bunch of time with like Long Island off and on here and there. Interesting to see him then pop up in Charleston. Drama? I don't know, but I like it. Chaos. Joe Record, first Indy ball season. He sits like mid-90s fastball. I think, if I'm seeing correctly, he's whipping like a gyro slider that he's cooking. If that is what I'm seeing, cool. Sick. I love that for you, dude. Eddie Demurius has potential, needs to keep guys off base. Couldn't that be everybody in the league? I know. All right, let it go. Samuel Reyes, lots of work in 2024, sub-4 ERA and all that work. Hopefully, I always worry about a guy who throws a bunch of innings and comes back the next year. Struggled here in the early going. Let's hope he is rested. Let's hope he does find some rhythm. Worries me a little bit, gotta tell you. And then Carlos Meza, the other guy, dropped from the Arizona system last year. He can be nasty. Not sold they should have done that, but Diamondbacks are going to be the Diamondbacks. And then the number 1 bullpen, the Power Rankings, it's Gastonia. A lot of impressive arms. I like that they're bringing back Kent Hassler. Tanner Mayat joins the team with like a career 3.26 ERA across 70 AA appearances. Fastball sits mid to upper 90s if I'm seeing correct. Ryan Hennon, Reynald Espinal, both dudes. They have a full staff beyond those guys that could all post ERAs lower than league average. You love to see it. Funky little start with that York series straight into a High Point doubleheader, but I think they're going to settle in and be nice. Before we move on, let's finish up the pitching conversation here, and we'll just go straight through the top 10. What the top 10? It's 10 teams in the league, so it's the power ranking here of the entire pitching staff. Number 1, it's the Lancaster Stormers. Number 2, it's the Gastonia Ghost Peppers there. Number 3, Charleston. Number 4, Southern Maryland. Number 5, you got High Point. In 6th, you got Long Island's pitching staff. And then 7, the rival Staten Island. Number 8, Hagerstown. Number 9, it's York. And number 10, no surprise because they were at the bottom for both, it's the Lexington Legends pitching staff. But we'll see. I mean, they've been certainly not the worst pitching staff in the league. Maybe the best pitching staff in the league in the early going. Who knows what the hell's going on there. Lexington's chaotic. A lot of Pioneer League dudes. We'll talk about it. Let's talk about the saucy boys behind the dish here, yeah? We're going to start, we'll go to the bottom again, and we'll work our way back up to the top. Let's talk about catchers, the worst team. And we're talking not just your starter, we're talking position-wise. We're talking depth. We're talking collective war if we're getting into it. Number 10 is the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. The tandem of Ryan McCarthy and Andy Valdez already on pace for like projected 500-ish OPS. Might collectively be a 3-war tandem there. Ahead of them, it's the number 9 High Point Rockers. Luke Napleton, though, is off to a crazy start. Buddy, tear it up. I mean, he had like a 220, 339, 320 slash in like a short stint with like the Dockhounds. Not sure that he can keep this rolling. I mean, projections don't think so, but buddy, it's been convincing so far. He's hitting something stupid. I think he had like 500 or something stupid. So Luke Napleton, go off, King. That's fine. I love it. Love to see a catcher do work. High Point, by the way, we're going to have to see what they can get out of Nolan Watson as well. He has been struggling in limited use, so that's not helping the situation there. Number 8, Charleston. Number 7, it's a Long Island. Number 6, you got Lexington. Number 5, Hagerstown. The number 4 catcher group is the Lancaster Stormers. Let's talk a little bit about our top 3 here, though. At number 3, you got the York Revolution. Michael Berglund returns. He's off to a solid start. That's basically all him. It's got a 5.1 WAR spot right there at the catcher spot for York. Number 2, Staten Island, about the same projection level, but it's sort of split between Brendan Martirano and Matthew Scheffler. They have both looked great in the early going. They could combine for like an 800 OPS or something like that. Good to see Martirano get a hot start. He really had trouble in a stint with Gastonia last season. I felt like he was better than that. So far, it looks good, so that's a good pickup by Staten Island, rather, if that is the case with him. And then number 1, though, speaking Gastonia. It's Gastonia Ghost Peppers with Patrick Mazika. He has struggled a bit out of the gate, though, making the projections look bad, but he still projects to be a fantastic contributor and good veteran presence there. So I like that for them. Working our way around the diamond, got to start with, if we're talking best first baseman grouping, first baseman period in the league right now, you cannot have that conversation without talking about Evan Edwards with High Point. Played well last season. I expect him to improve even a bit this season. Look for him to have over 20 home runs. He is a guy to build off of if you were putting together a lineup. If you need a solid guy at first, that's the move. Taking a step down, though, from there, a sizable step down, though, because High Point really has that figured out. We're going to talk Lancaster, number 2, and what is that I'm hearing? Is it Mason Martin music? Is Aston Martin music still relevant? Oh, God. I was listening to Santorini Grease the other day. Rick Ross just getting after it. So good. Oh, so good, man. Put it on the map, brother. Anyway, I don't expect the numbers from last year's Lancaster stint to continue for Mason Martin, but he's still like a 900-plus OPS guy. The projection model loves him. He's great. Mason Martin. Number 3, we kind of have a 3-way, very nearly tie here. So we'll say it's 3, 4, 5, but it's all close. Number 3, it's the Long Island Ducks. Seth Beer has started slow, already flashed some power, though. You see where this is going. Hitting in front of Troy Viola should help him see some better pitches. We're going to talk about Troy Viola later because that's a whole situation. That's something right there. But that should help him see at least some better pitches as he sort of adapts to the league in this Ducks lineup. If we're talking York, we're talking Frankie Tostado, which a tostado sounds delicious as I record on Cinco de Mayo. I could tear up a tostado. I don't even know what that is, but you know it sounds so good. Probably like that crema sauce on it. Oh, nasty. So good. Off to a great start there, Frankie Tostado. I got a good look at him while I was in Gastonia. He's one dying here in the early going. He's going to be awesome. Yes. Charleston. Bobby Bradley. In 2023 with Charleston, he slashed 270, 375, 45 with 30 home runs. We're just going to go 30 Jimmy Jacks. All right. I think he could be even better, which sounds insane. Feels even more insane because he's had kind of a rough start, looking a little lost, had some weird strikeouts, just saying. Charleston has been kind of off, though, start this whole year, so we'll see. They'll get some more protection around him as this goes on. They'll be fine, I'm sure, but yeah, it hasn't helped the vibe, but Bobby Bradley's Bobby Bradley, number 5. that is in the first baseman ranks, is Charleston. Number 6, I got Gastonia. Number 7, Lexington. Number 8, the Hagerstown first base situation. And then at number 9, let's talk Staten Island a little bit here. They look to be relying heavily on the trio of Tim Borden, Shane Fontana, and Drew Maggie. Projections are not sure about that plan at all, but they've not seemed to care during Staten Island's strong start. Do not care what the projections say. They are raking, they're handling business. Cool. Finally, at the bottom of the first baseman power rankings, we have Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. Brett Pereira hit well in Oakland last season, but the projections don't like it to translate very well, so we're not going to jump on him there, but keep that in mind. And that could be just a long-term play by Southern Maryland, so we'll see how that works. There's a lot of that going on right now in the Atlantic League with Pioneer League talent. Let's talk second base, and we're going to stick with Southern Maryland, unfortunately, because they are also at the bottom of the second base power rankings. I'm afraid John Taylor's slow start is unfortunately indicative of what we can expect there. In the number 9 spots, the Lancaster Stormers, actually, because I like both Nick Ward. I really like Slater Shield. We'll talk about him in a second. But I think they may struggle to give Lancaster consistency. Both Nick Ward is not a powerhouse, and then Slater is adapting to the league. I think it just could be a rough spot for them in the lineup for a lot of the year. Slater Shield, by the way, I think is a dog. I think he's great. I really hope he does well. I saw him in a preseason game. First of all, he went from NAIA to like a few series in the Pioneer League last year with like 2 different teams. I think it was like Ogden and Rocky Mountain, something like that, maybe. I don't think it was NOCO. It must have been Rocky Mountain. And like, dude shows up, looks like a Slater Shield. Got the chain, looking good, looking like gave show energy, which is fun. And then he was just making plays, making so many plays, stealing bags. I like him. I hope it works. I hope if he struggles, they stick with him, because I'm a Slater Shield believer. I'm fully in on that guy. Keep working through the second base rankings here because we have a long way left to go. Number 8, we have the Long Island Ducks. At 7, we have Hagerstown. At 6, we got the Staten Island Ferry Hawks. At 5, the High Point Rockers. At 4, the York Revolution. And we'll sort of step through the top 3 here a little bit. Lexington Legends. Let's get some shine to them. We've kind of beaten them up early here. Drew Ellis is a killer. Lexington really scored with him as their full-time second baseman. Terrific work. No notes. Looking at number 2, it's the Gastonia Ghost Peppers. A lot of them at the top here early. Justin Wiley, Jack Reinheimer, Richie Martin. All 3 can rake. All 3 can hold the position down well for the Ghost Peppers. Tremendous depth there. And then at number 1, basically on the back of Alexander Womack, the 6.9 WAR projection for that position group, mostly off of Womack. It's the Charleston Dirty Birds. He has not seen the field much since he crushed it in his first 5 games. He should be back in the lineup again this week, though. I think he might just gotten a little banged up or something like that, or trying to get some roster rotation going on. Nothing major, obviously. So he's back. And yeah, you love to see it. That's about that. I'll say he was a great find. I really like him. That's the projections. I'll pull it. Let's see what the projections said on Womack, because I was kind of oh wow, interesting. And what are we doing here? This is not an organized situation. Projected to go at 285, 350, 335 slash. Interesting. Not much power, but still, guy hits baseball. So Alexander Womack. Let's talk third base, working around the diamond, shall we? And we're going to start at number 1. And we'll stay in Charleston because James Nelson crushes Indy ball. There is a massive gap between first and second in the third baseman conversation here, because James Nelson crushes Indy ball. He's already continued to do damage back in the Atlantic League. Looking forward to him just going wild again this year. Hell yeah, James Nelson. Love that. Number 2, it's Richie Martin with Alan Alonso and Ethan Skender in the mix there for Gastonia. And number 3, it's the Lexington Legends back up near the top again. Brian Fuentes, he played well with the Alls for the past 2 seasons, keeps it in Kentucky. I think it's going to transfer well to the Atlantic League. So far, so good. Keep an eye on that. It's an interesting situation there. Number 4, got the York Revolution. Osvaldo Tovalin, he's backed up by Ryan Higgins. That's a solid grouping at 3rd. And at number 5, I got Hagerstown. Chad Cedillo is a solid veteran for this team. It's a good fit for the roster, in my opinion. Played well in a part-time role with Lancaster. I saw him a good bit last year in 2024. Positional versatility beyond just third base and kind of do an outfield utility thing. Love that. Great job by Mark Mason getting him in. Number 6, I got Hagerstown. Number 7, it's Lancaster. Number 8, Staten Island. Talking number 9 here, the number 9 third baseman grouping comes from Southern Maryland. I expect to see Jamari Baylor there, or at least I did. They've been using Jackson Lofton. Hard truth, doesn't change their place in the ranking, really. Same contribution. Long Island, this is weird. And I know I'm going to get chirped bad for this because Troy Viola's coming in hot, coming over from the Pioneer League, hitting well, looked very impressive so far. But projections just aren't optimistic about it. Projections are very down on Pioneer League to Atlantic League guys, with only a few exceptions. Slater Shield. Projections just don't think that he's going to be able to keep it rolling. It's a tough jump, man. I just need to see more to overrule the projection model, and I just haven't quite seen it. I think it's still at like 250 or something. So yeah, let's talk shortstop though. Shortstops. We're going to start at the bottom because we were just at the bottom. So we start at the bottom. You're getting it. There's a rhythm. Shortstops. Worst shortstop grouping comes from High Point. A little surprising. Not sure how well Aiden Brewer is going to adjust the Atlantic League. He's got a slow start going on right now that is not calming those concerns. So yeah, High Point to the bottom on that one. That's tough. Number 9, Lexington, they're bumped by having Braden Whalen over there, but Andrew Atwood will need to show that he can adapt to the league and sort of back that up. Brady Whalen, I wasn't really sure where they were going to land him, but it's still, I mean, maybe they're bumped up 1 or 2 spots in the shortstop power ranking, but like it is what it is. Number 8 shortstop grouping comes from York. Then number 7 is the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars. At number 6, it's the Lancaster Stormers. Number 5, your Long Island Ducks. At 4, it is the Staten Island Ferry Hawks. They are notably better than Long Island, I would say, but still a good bit behind the number 3 here. And the number 3 is, look again, Southern Maryland kind of up and down, but they're making it happen. The Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, they're led by Sam Dexter at shortstop. He's moving over from Fargo Moorhead. Anybody acquainted with the American Association needs no introduction, but he should play very well for Southern Maryland. Looking at Charleston at number 2 in the shortstop conversation, Joseph Rosa has had a rough start, but looked really good last season. /284, 411, 475. Look at those numbers. Mama, the man can play ball. Finally, Gastonia at the top of the shortstop conversation. Look for the tandem of Jack Reinheimer and Richie Martin to put up numbers in buckets. That's a gross grouping. That's just putting those two together feels wrong. Feels wrong, basically. Yeah, that's all I got on that. Good talk. No, not going to do it. Not going to engage with it. Just saying it's good work. Let's summarize some of the infield conversation, and then we'll move to the outfield. Quick recap, just looking at in general or corner infield. The number 1 corner infield tandem is Charleston. That's like combined like 12.4 WAR in the projections, which is nuts. Then 2 behind them is 2 WAR behind them, which is wild, is the number 2 team, High Point. Number 3 in corner infield rankings, it's York. Number 4, it is the Gastonia Ghost Peppers. Number 5, Lancaster. Number 6, Lexington. Number 7, Hagerstown. Number 8, Long Island. Number 9, Staten Island. And number 10 is the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs for the corner infield rankings. Let's talk middle infield rankings. Just going to run through that same thing. Just going from the worst to the best this time around. Middle infield rankings. At the bottom, it's the Lancaster Stormers. Then it's Long Island Ducks. Didn't really talk about them, but it's the Chad Pike Cole Kaler tandem. At number 8, it's the Hagerstown Flying Boxers. That's Errol Robinson and Osvaldo Abreu over there. At 7, you got the wrong age team, the High Point Rockers. At 6, it's the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. At 5, your York Revolution. 4, Lexington Legends. And the third middle infield grouping in the power rankings is the Staten Island Ferry Hawks. That's the Eddie Diaz Damon Dews combo. I like that one quite a bit. But then there's a big old gap, like 4 games of WAR. And then you get to number 2, the Charleston Dirty Birds, and number 1, the Gastonia Ghost Peppers. So that's the situation there on how you build that middle infield out. Nasty double play combos in there. Finally, overall infield group. And then, as I said, we'll hit the outfield. Number 1 infield group across the league in the power rankings, it's Gastonia, followed very closely by Charleston, and then a fat, like 6.5 game gap in WAR back to York at number 3. Right behind them, it's Lexington at number 4, High Point at 5, and Lancaster at 6. All pretty close tucked together, by the way, these last like 7. At 7, it is Staten Island. At 8, it's Hagerstown. At 9, Long Island. And then the bottom ranked infield by a good margin is the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs infield grouping. All right, we're officially getting there now. We're talking outfield starting left to right. At the bottom of the left field rankings is the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. They're having a rough go of it here. Pierce Howard, he was a 413 BABIP guy in 2024, which is a major red flag in the projection. So, yeah, that's why they're down there. Brady Whalen's in the conversation in left field. He was off to a very hot start and seeing substantially more time in left than he was projected to. So I might want to bump him up to like 7th, knowing that. I don't know what to do with Brady Whalen. Lexington's roster is hard to track. It was a whole thing. They had like 45 guys in camp. I didn't know how to project that. So we're working a little bit with that one. It's a little bit fluid with Lexington. Number 8, I got Hagerstown. Number 7, left field grouping is with Long Island. Number 6, Staten Island. Number 5, it's York. Number 4, Lancaster. Taking a look at our top 3 here, though, because Gastonia is just like by committee in left field. Okay. Everyone can hold it down. Not even going to go into it. It's like 5 guys. They seem to be ever so slightly favoring Ethan Skender. Sure. But it's going fine. So they'll be great. Number 2, High Point. Ben Aklinski, the new franchise home run record holder. He has been regressing slightly over the past couple of years at the dish. He has been improving in fielding, it seems. However, I would expect a return to form, and he's already making me look so smart for expecting that. So Ben Aklinski is dangerous. Finally, at number 1 in left field in the Atlantic League is Charleston with J.J. Matejevich. He's been playing in Mexico. He has come to America to take jobs and do crimes or whatever. Did I just not save center field? That's a tough one for me. So I'm just going to pull it and we're just going to run this thing live. That's what we're doing. And it's going to be minimal info maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes, yeah? All right, here we go. Center field, rank it. Where are we going? What order are we in here? I'm lost completely now. Tough scene for me. Let's say we're going best to worst. Center field. Number 1, it's York. That is not overwhelmingly surprising if we're being really honest about it. Tomo Tasaka. Duh. Makes a ton of sense, dude. Yeah. Tomo in center is a great fit for York. Then it's Gastonia, then it's Lancaster, then it's Hagerstown. If you're curious about the middle teams here, we got Charleston at 5, Southern Maryland 6, Long Island 7, High Point at 8. The bottom 2, it's Staten Island and Lexington. And sorry if I shortchanged your center fielders, but just botched the notes. There's no excuse for that kind of thing, man. What am I going to say? It's a bad podcast / YouTube channel. So, whoops. Back to my notes. Well, since center field was so fast, we need to speed right on into right. Starting at the bottom. Or the top? The best? I did this wrong. Doesn't matter. This is a disaster as always. But hey, Luis Gonzalez and High Point. The best right field grouping. Luis Gonzalez, not that one. Not the Game 7 one who ruined 9/11 and the story or whatever. You remember that World Series. He's been crushing baseballs already, and yeah, he's probably going to keep doing that. Ben Aklinski's also hanging out there in right field being a menace, so if it wasn't that much of a problem, that's why. No matter who's in right, it's an issue. Ethan Wilson, though, grabs number 2 spot for Southern Maryland. That's huge. Ethan Wilson saw him in the Phillies system. Phillies cannot develop players. This kid can play, though. Trust me. Look for an OPS around 900, I think, if he hits his stride here. Number 3, Lancaster. I had Joseph Carter out there more in right field, but Ladarius Clark's been playing right a lot lately. He hasn't played for a few years, so I guess maybe he's slowed down a step, putting him in right. It doesn't actually change the ranking much, though, so that'll work. Number 4, you got Staten Island 5, Long Island 6th ranked right field group, York. Then it's Charleston, then it's Gastonia at 8. Let's talk bottom 2 here. It's Hagerstown with Miles Williams getting support from Chris Quitzer and Wellington Dotel. Miles Williams is actually off to a hot start, but I'm just not sure he can carry that whole trio with this, so that's where that is. Number 1, or number 10, I guess I should say, the lowest ranked right field grouping is the Lexington Legends, and it's tough because I like Zane Washington and I like Ryan McCarthy. I like taking a chance on bringing them into the Atlantic League, trying to develop them a little bit from the Pioneer. So far, Washington's look solid. I'm just not sure it's going to hold up, but I'm also not sure that it's a buy-in for this year. It might be more trying to develop something for next year. I don't know, but that's the thought. Let's talk overall outfield rankings here as we kind of close things out a little bit. Number 1 outfield grouping, it is High Point. It's Ben Aklinski. It's Cody Wilson. It's Luis Gonzalez. Duh, dude. Yeah. And number 2, you got Lancaster. You got Joseph Carter, Ariel Sandoval, and Ladarius Clark. Behind them, narrowly though, it is Charleston. At 4, it's York. At the outfield, that is 5th best. It is Gastonia. Number 6 in the outfield power rankings, you got Long Island. Number 8, it's Southern Maryland. Number 9, it's Hagerstown. And number 10, you have Lexington. DHs, I would go in depth, but 1, I don't respect DH. And 2, it's like a revolving door. It's just who's ever's available, who's got an off day. So I'm not going to name names, but generally you can do the math on who's probably going to be around. It's going to be a mix of things. Some teams just have a DH. Some have guy who's not in the field today. Generally, the way that math works out, though, is at number 10, it is Lancaster. And then at 9, Hagerstown. At 8, Staten Island. Then High Point, Long Island, and Southern Maryland. Your top 4 looks like number 4, York. Number 3, Charleston. Number 2, Lexington. And number 1, Gastonia. In general, non-pitchers, I didn't know what to call them other than non-pitchers because it's not position players. DH is involved, right? Right. Thank you. At number 1, though, when it comes to all non-pitchers, it's not just lineup. I can't say batting because defense is involved. Okay, I'm done. I'm focusing back in. Number 1 is Charleston. Number 2, it's Gastonia. Number 3, York. Number 4, High Point. Number 5, Lancaster. At 6, I got Staten Island. At 7, in non-pitchers, I have Long Island. At 8 is Lexington. At 9, Hagerstown. And at 10, Southern Maryland. The back of the rankings for non-pitchers. And I think pitchers as well. That's tough. Overall power rankings, this is it, the be-all, end-all, you might say. At number 10, I got the Lexington Legends. At 9, Hagerstown. At 8, Southern Maryland. At 7, Long Island. At 6, Staten Island. At number 5, I got York. At number 4, the High Point Rockers. At 3, Lancaster Stormers. At 2, the Chicago. Oh my God, I need to sleep. I saw CW. I was like, CWS, the Chicago White Sox. It's Charleston. And at number 1 is Gastonia. I changed around my abbreviations, by the way, trying to line it up with team names. Hagerstown. I had Hag. That felt bad. Going HFB, Hagerstown Flying Boxers. That fits. Gastonia Ghost Peppers, GGP. Feels like Xi Jinping, but we'll deal with that later. Get some CPPL boys over there. Let's talk once and for all projections, which I need to pull up somewhere. There we go. And playoff odds, because that's fun. It gets the people going. All right, let's check it out here. We got the Gastonia Ghost Peppers, projected for 78.5 wins. That is a 94% playoff percentage when it comes to the probabilities. 52.4 probability to make the championship series and 28.7% chance to win the championship. That is far and away the best odds you're going to get of any of the teams. Dirty Birds are projected to win 75. That's 75-51 record if they were to do that. Playoff odds are just under 50%. The championship series odds to make the championship series are about 25.3%. And then 13% to win the championship. Yeah, the High Point Rockers, they are 3 games behind the Dirty Birds in that win projection. They're sitting around the 72 mark. With 54 losses, that would be the case. 4.4 for being technical about it. 34% chance to make the playoffs and 18% chance to make it to the championship series, or to win the championship series, and a 9% chance to win the championship. Goodness, I need a nap. Lancaster Stormers, by the way, those are all 3. I think it's worth mentioning. The top 3 and the bottom 2 are all South Division teams. Looking at our first North Division teams, Lancaster Stormers, 68 wins. And you got to talk at the same time about the Fairy Hawks. They're at 67.8% in the win projections. That would be 68 and 58, and rounding it, 68 and 58. That's going to be close. Now, much better playoff odds for Lancaster. That is because the schedule lined up a lot more favorably for them, I believe, to win first half. I want to say I should have had that ready, but for basically one of the halves, it's far more loaded for the Stormers to have a good chance to make it. And but so they have about 75% chance to make the playoffs, 38% to make the championship, and a 19-ish% chance to win the championship. Fairy Hawks have a 59.5% chance to make their first playoff run, a 28.5% chance to make their first championship series, and a 14.4% chance to win their first championship. York Revolution, 63.7 and 62.3, right around 500 is that projection. Playoff odds sit 36.3%, 17.3% odds to make the championship series, 8.2% to win the championship. We have two more to go. The Long Island Ducks, 57.2 and 68.8 win-loss projection, 19% odds to make the playoffs, 8.7 to make the championship, only 4% to win the championship. And Hagerstown, wrapping up the North Division, projects to win 51.7 games. That's obviously the worst in the North Division. That would be a 51 or 52, probably a 74 record if we're rounding it. 9.4% odds to make the playoffs, 3.8% chance to make the championship, and a 1.5% chance to win the championship. That is actually the lowest of all the teams. All three of those playoff odds are. Lexington, though, since we're discussing, 48.9% win projection, 77.1 losses in that case, 13.9% chance to make the playoffs, 5.3% chance to make the championship, and a 2% chance to win it. And finally, it's the Blue Crabs, 45.3 wins. That's the projected win total, 80.7 losses, 14.4% odds to make the playoffs, 5.3 to make the championship, and 1.8% chance to win the playoffs. That is the Atlantic League projection, and I'm going to scoot out of here. Subscribe to Indy Nation, Instagram, Twitter, whatever else. Follow, whatever you want to do. I got to get editing, get to bed, because I got Frontier League and American Association ready to rock. So, oh, God. It's been real. I'm excited, man. First 10 games have been fantastic. Watched a lot of ball, man. Watching a sick amount of ball. It's nasty. I got Thursday morning games coming up soon. 2 days? So probably catch me somewhere dumb. Just watching ball with screaming children at 11 a.m. Fun. I find the screaming soothing. I've had a girlfriend before. Not child, though. Not child. No, I gotta add that. Cut that.